Hey guys, it's ArchieLuxury. ArchieLuxury from the ArchieLuxury channel, the Paul Pluta channel, and ArchieLuxury corporate. Guys, keep watching. Keep watching. I need the viewers. I need the viewers. I need the subs. I need it. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Tell your friends, whether you like them or hate them. Just tell them anyhow. ArchieLuxury on YouTube. Hey guys, it's ArchieLuxury on the Paul Pluta channel. Today, guys, I'm doing a paid review. This is paid review 20 SE11, 20 SE11 quick wristwatch. Check. What am I wearing today? Patek Philippe 5127. I really love that watch. This here paid review 20 SE11. It says, hi Archie, I am Mark. No last name, please. Requesting a paid review of the Seiko SBLA025, commonly known as the Seiko Galante. It's a spring drive chronograph, but it's not technically a grand Seiko, although it seems to be priced like one. I personally think this is one of the most monstrous, ugly timepieces ever made. But you are the expert, so what do I know? I know a guy actually considering one of these, so I need a second opinion on whether I'm being too hard on this piece. So it's a Seiko Galante SBLA025. And I gotta tell you, as soon as I read this thing here, I actually got it confused with a Seiko Diver. Seiko Diver, which I just had lunch with a friend of mine. He's got an SLA025. But this is an SBLA025. So completely different model. I was about to talk about a high beat diver. It's a 300-meter dive watch. But this is a different animal indeed. Look, I gotta tell you, this is an interesting watch there. The Seiko Galante spring drive men's watch. It's a Seiko, not a grand Seiko. It uses the spring drive, 44.4 mil stainless steel case, ostrich leather strap, 72-hour power reserve, 50 joule movement, dual curve sapphire crystal with inside anti-reflective coating. It's got a date, a calendar, it's a chronograph, see-through case back, sapphire case back there. So it's a very, very interesting thing. And I did a bit of a search around, and I got to be honest with you. There was a dealer, couple dealers. They're about $8,000 to $9,000, and I gotta be honest with you, that seems pretty damn expensive. But I gotta be honest with you, it is a bit avant-garde. I admit the styling on this here is not my cup of tea. But one thing about the Japanese, let me tell you this, one thing about the Japanese, you can be sure when something is expensive, they give you value. It's like when you buy a Lexus. It may, like the IS, it may look like a sort of a mid-sized sort of car, but when you actually step into the cabin, you realize, it's got the nice interior, the nice stitching, the nice upholstery, nice plastics, nice stereo. It's just a nice product. So the Japanese, you can bet your bottom dollar they provide a bit of this bang per buck. A brand like Seiko, really, which is a brand kind of known for lower priced watches, if they've got the audacity to charge nearly $10,000, you can be sure that this watch here is going to have some amazing attention to detail. It may not be classically styled like you would want, but one thing about the Japanese is they're not going to rip you off. They're actually pretty damn honest. So I did a bit of research on it, and I've got to tell you, in all honesty, I think this watch here could be a bit of a sleeper. That's correct there. It could be a bit of a sleeper. Very, very, I mean, let's be honest there. It's very interesting how they've done this, because it's a chronograph, which it's expensive when you compare it to a lot of Seikos. You can buy a Seiko chronograph, a Mecha quartz, couple $100. But this is special. It's a spring drive, so it's got a quality movement. I gotta be honest with you, this is actually quite a respected sort of watch. So I wouldn't be I wouldn't really be bagging this watch out. It is it's quite respected. Now, interestingly enough, Galante, it's how do I put this politely? How do I put this politely? Galante translates as sex, okay? Galante, and they've used really sexy imagery to sell this sort of watch here. And I gotta be honest with you, they've marketed it as sex in horology. And I kind of it's the Seiko Galante was originally limited to Japan and Taiwan. It's kind of, you got to think of it as the Creedor, which was Seiko's super luxury brand, and Grand Seiko. Galante's it's a high end. This is from a great website. I'll put a link to it, grail-watch.com. And what they say is, you've got to think the Galante is a high end brand, avant-garde. Look at and what they go on to say is it's Seiko being sexy. It's kind of, how would you put this? Seiko being, how would you put this? Seiko being Tudor. If Tudor was ever cool, Galante is, it's kind of a sexy Seiko. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I find this quite bizarre. And the most striking feature is the cylindrical, the lugs on this baby. But if it's done as the Japanese do, you can be sure that this is actually a work of avant-garde art. It is just over the top. Interestingly enough, the spring drive, which is that's kind of it's an expensive movement, the spring drive movement. The company uses, this is again from grail-watch.com, they said the company, this was all Galante models used were equipped with Seiko's spring drive movement from launch until 2009. This was the company's most accurate and high-tech movement at the time, and its use here demonstrates the positioning of the Galante at the top of the range for the company. The spring drive movement uses the caliber 5R65, 5R66, and 5R86 are quite similar to the Creedor, which uses a 7R, and the Grand Seiko, which uses a 9R caliber movement. Apart from finishing, all these movements are similar. So that kind of tells you these were not just a normal Seiko. These were special. Avant-garde, sexy. It was kind of erotic. And I gotta tell you, I quite like it. I quite like it. Yeah, I kind of like it. It is a bit of an acquired taste. The funny thing is, in Japan itself there, the market, they are incredibly nationalistic, patriotic people. So this watch, even though we may say, what the hell were they thinking? The Japanese market, they're extremely proud of their watchmaking history, as they rightly should be. So this is really Seiko being sexy, the Seiko Galante. And I gotta be totally honest with you, they also had, this, we was talking about the SBLA025. The most expensive model was SBLA055, one of the most expensive Seiko watches in history. Just 3 were made, 3, and they sold for nearly $100,000. And they had diamonds and precious stones in it as well. So it's kind of a, this is an anomaly, which I gotta be honest with you, you've got to look at it that Seiko is trying to be sexy. And I mean, this is as ridiculous as Mazda trying to be sexy or Toyota trying to be sexy. Can they do it? And the answer is they can. The GT2000, the Toyota in the Bond movie, you know, the GT2000 in the 60s, that was very sexy. So they can do it. And I gotta say, man, I think, yeah, it's easy to dish it off and say it's ugly and it's garbage and it's this, but it may not be the styling to your taste, but if it's anything from the Seiko labs there, they would have put a lot of effort in it, and I think it could be a bit of a sleeper. It could be a bit of a sleeper, especially with that high-grade movement, the spring drive movement. I gotta tell you, I'd like to say no, it's garbage and it's rubbish and it's this, but I can't. I may not like the styling, but I don't think you can dismiss this piece. It is a work of art. And yeah, it may not be for me, but it's an incredibly interesting watch. I must say I've never handled one, but some of the Seikos that are out there, they are pretty damn good. Would I ever get a Grand Seiko? I gotta tell you, the Sos brothers, I had one of the Sos brothers in this very studio. He brought his Grand Seiko and I wanted to dish it, criticize it, and I looked at it and it was really, really good. So I got to tell you, the Galante, the Seiko Galante, may not be my cup of tea, but I wouldn't bag it in the same token. So there you go. It's an oddball Japanese creation. It's interesting. I don't know why if it was the top of the range, the Galante, maybe they didn't want to. It's too sexy to be a Grand Seiko. Creedor is sort of their Patek you know, black tie occasion sort of watch. This is kind of a different thing. Think Yakuza goes to a charity ball. The Seiko Galante. Something amazing from Japan. I'm ArchieLuxury. That's been a paid review. Tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. And remember, guys, I can't survive on Google Ads alone. I need paid reviews to keep me on the tubes. Without support, I would sink. I would really sink. So please, guys, help us out. Get a paid review done. And let's keep me full-time on YouTube. $50 US. Description down below. Look in the description. Basically, PayPal me $50 US. Send me the review. Send me a few low-res pictures. And I'll put a review together for you. See you later. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury. And who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Patek's came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.